This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, I'm here with Tortu.
He just can't get it right when I'm here, and now it's out of spite.
I think he did it on purpose.
No, it's out of spite. I know it's out of spite.
Definitely out of spite.
Yep,
Yeah,
this is spite.
I could tell.
But he is here with his only friends.
I could tell today was the day that the intro was going to end. LaManna gave him the weakest courtesy laugh whenever he said Tortuga there, and that's how I know that this has finally run its course.
The bit is over.
The bit's dead. It's great. It was well run. You know, you did a great job, Conrad. We appreciate it for as long as it lasted.
You don't get to try to put a knife in my bit like that.
I'm not putting a knife in anything.
That bad boy runs.
No, you can just play it back, and you can
you.
hear LaManna's courtesy laugh, and then you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about.
How about bring it back after I win a live event?
No, just don't bring it back. It's gone. It's okay, you know? It was good. It had its, month.
You
and
guys
now...
are just such misregs. My God.
Misregs.
Dusty asses.
I mean, if the bit was good, we'd let the bit slide.
Yeah, I agree.
The bit was amazing.
The special episode with your only pause friends is good. We like that. We'll take that.
No, it's Tortuga.
It's out.
Go.
No, it's
Don't ruin it like
even
that.
with Tortuga, it's out.
Yeah, actually,
You can't single out Brian like that.
That is true. It's very unfair. He's not even your sidekick.
It's true.
You know,
that is true. But he's my sidekick's little butt. No.
No. This is very insulting to all of us.
Sidekick adjacent.
Yeah, he's barely sidekick adjacent.
Yeah.
He's just the elder statesman of the group.
I am the La manager.
He's basically the world traveler and knowledge holder of the group.
Might be the only person who has fewer stamps on his passport than me in this room.
Do I have fewer than you?
He did go to Turks and Caicos once.
I have Mexico. I have Bahamas, Mexico, and
you got all the same
Turks
spots.
and Caicos.
Do I have the most in this room?
I can challenge.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, then challenge.
All
right.
Let's see. Madrid,
Wow.
Amsterdam,
Wow.
Rome,
You win.
Mexico.
You really put
been to
that. You really put
Europe
that.
only counts as one.
I've been to Mexico
I've
7
been
times.
to
so-
Buenos Aires.
You really put that juiced out 20-year-old body to use, didn't you?
Yeah. Those are the good old days. Those days are over, Matt.
Yeah,
He's passed the torch.
Just hitting up the hostels, you know, fucking out there in the discotheque all night long.
You can't see him right now, but he's nodding his head in agreement.
Shirt pulled up a little high for the abs to show.
I have two words for you, Matt. One of.
Still means nothing to me.
Guapo was out here wearing crop tops before it was cool.
I love inside jokes. I would be part of one day.
Hey, happy 316, everybody! Big shout out to Steve Austin. Today is Steve Austin 316.
God, I should have brought a beer, smashed them together, and chugged them.
Yeah, I was watching clips this morning to see if we could play any of them, and then I realized the WWE is more anal than Poker Go when it comes to playing their clips.
We'll get no money.
Yeah, they just fucking snap end.
I like how some days we decide we want money, and other days we decide that we don't want
It depends
money.
how good the clip is.
Right.
Yeah,
like seeing stuff. I mean, honestly, we could just roll a
worth
GIF, and it would accomplish the same thing without getting flagged.
Sure.
So there's the workaround, Landon. You see, that's why I'm the brains of this operation, man.
There are some days where you just say, fuck it, we're getting no money today.
Well, some days the clips are that good.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm going to watch a Steeler highlight reel, I'm willing to sacrifice the $15 that our video would make.
Like the... Fuck.
Play Renegade.
What is it?
Hey, Siri, play Renegade.
It's the Immaculate Reception is what it is.
Oh, yeah, we got flagged for that one.
Yeah. But it's worth it. See?
Worth it.
Yeah. If it's Steelers content, if it's Pirates content, it's allowed.
Guapo's our Siri.
If
Guapo? Play Renegade.
Hey, Guapo.
Sí, señor. Un momento.
A couple news and notes. A big shout out to Cherish Andrews, who won the Down Bad Win 400.
Why do you? Every tournament I play is a down bad tournament. I don't
Yes,
understand.
exactly.
That's
the barometer.
Why is
That
it
is
just
the
like
barometer.
you called a down bad tournament? Like I played that.
Yeah, you're a wreck. So if LaManna played, it's down bad.
No, it's up good.
Your ABI is like 650. Might actually be tree fitty.
We talking about online?
No.
No,
Total.
it can't be tree fitty when the lowest thing that he'll play is a 4.
That's
no,
true. That's
I
true.
mean, you played the 100 at
You
the
want to
Golden
know
Nugget,
what?
right?
Here's my 2023.
I'm not doing this math, man.
No, but he already has it. He's got it.
You got an app for
Come on.
that.
Over under
it.
300.
Let's see.
Over.
Under 500.
Over.
Where are we at here?
I'll take
Filter,
under
600.
675.
live.
I'll
Average.
take the under on 675.
For his
I'll
API
take-
or overall, like even with action selling?
I would say 500.
Overall with action selling.
With action selling, over 675.
I'll take under 675.
I'll take under.
20 push-ups.
Booked.
Done. You still owe me a fucking ton.
Can I reveal the answer?
Yeah.
Yes.
841.
Let's go, baby! And you owe me 20 more.
You forgot that I
Tortoise
paid
in
the
the-
3,500.
Yup. I know my tortoise.
Take out the 3,500 and tell me what it is.
Less than
Less than,
841.
yeah, less than 841. That's right.
Fucking got, man.
He got. We got him so good. I've gotten so much better at prop bets since.
Oh, man.
Wow.
I've only played, I didn't play them at 14. 14 live tournaments this year.
Not enough, man.
Wait,
We're
It's
down,
not enough. It's
we're down,
March.
We're down 5,300.
That's kind of nothing though.
What do you mean?
That's
You're
eighth
down like
place.
you're down like 6.5
That's 6.5
buy-ins.
buy-ins,
Yeah.
bro. He's
Good
a
thi-
recreational. We can't afford these swings.
But I think I'm actually up live myself.
yeah.
Wow.
Because I did well in all the ones that I didn't,
you didn't sell
I didn't
for.
sell for.
Fucking scumbag.
Sorry,
Scumming us.
people.
Sorry,
Straight
people.
scumming us.
Hey, was it Kilbane that knocked out 50 push-ups on the pod?
Yes.
Yeah.
When does he come back?
I don't know, but I think he still owes me something.
He still owes you. He still owes from the podcast when I won the last longer. You still owe push-ups from when I won the last longer. You both still owe push-ups when I won the last longer. And
Yeah.
I did my push-ups on the podcast. So
I will do them whenever you want me to, except for today.
Except for
Anytime tomorrow and beyond.
All right. Yeah, I'll do them when the girls are here tomorrow.
Flex on him.
Push up off.
Yep.
Another big shout out to Victoria, who she final tabled the 2200, right?
She did.
At the win.
She got 4th for 47K.
Okay.
Was that the 2200 or the?
It might have been the 3K6
3K?
max.
Yeah, it was a 3K.
I think it was the 3K6 max.
Yeah.
Okay. She ran deep in the 2200 as well, I believe.
Yeah. I can find it.
Anyway, she had a good series at the win, and she is currently a massive leader on the ladies GPI Player of the Year for 2023. So this isn't the same, obviously, as the GPI overall rankings. I'm not sure what Player of the Year gets. I think this is what Angela Jordanson won last year, if I'm not mistaken. I could be off though. So I'm not sure. Oh wait, maybe is the Player of the Year what gets the GPI award?
Yes.
I thought it was just who was at the top of the GPI. So there's two separate qualifiers. There's the GPI list, which Cherish is still leading. And then there's the GPI Player of the Year 2023, which Cherish is like 12th.
It's like the rolling list, right? It's
Right.
like
The GPI is the rolling list
Right.
for where you rank year over year. And then there's the Player of the Year. So is the award goes to the Player of the Year?
The
then?
award goes to Player of the Year.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
That makes-
Steven
that makes
Song
more
won
sense.
Player of the Year and Mid-Major Player of the Year.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Anyway, huge shout out to Victoria. She has a commanding lead right now with 1,223 points. Next closest is Baby Shark Christina Gollins for 775 points. It's early, but 400 points is a lot of points.
Guys,
To
I
give you
think-
an idea, Cherish just won this event and she only has 400 points.
So
Wow.
I think we're going about this all wrong.
Go on.
The tortoise has
well,
spoken.
everyone's trying to like get more women into like, you know, grow women in poker. Seems like that's bad for our bottom line.
Brian keeps getting back.
No, I'm just, every time I open Twitter, another woman has won a tournament.
Yeah.
Right? They're just crushing it right now. And the more they come in, then how am I going to win? This is just bullshit. Let's get them out. Let's get them all out of. I'm always a joke.
The mad tortoise is mad. Brian can't cook anymore.
Did you guys Poker Face Ash won a ring? Did you guys?
We talked about it before.
Yesterday before I got here.
I
Yeah.
have to tell you, Brian.
Congratulations to her.
Not to give you too much of a counter argument here, but if we eliminated the women from the list and searched you, you wouldn't bump up that far.
I would not. But at least maybe have a shot.
You would still be buried in the thousands.
Buried in the single thousands.
Yeah.
Man, there was a point where I had cracked the top 100 in GPI.
Really?
Yeah, like
After your big World Series, maybe.
there was like, well, It wasn't even then. It was 2017 and 2018. I had back-to-back years where I cashed over $1 million.
Yeah.
Or 2016 and 2017 maybe. I don't
No,
remember.
you crushed those years, yeah.
Yeah, but
sure.
like
You never won anything, but you crushed.
yeah, man. And looking back, like I was enjoying that so much. And when I look at the entire scope of my career, there's only like 4 years that I can pluck out where I had tournament success like that was truly enjoyable. The other 19 or the other 16 or whatever, awful.
Imagine if you applied yourself.
No, not now. Maybe then, not now.
No?
Tournaments are too hard, man.
Are they?
Get out of tournaments. Everybody, listen. PSA. Connie, give them the CSA. Get them out of the tournament streets.
Tournaments
Come to cash.
Tournaments
No,
are
no,
amazing.
no.
Don't listen to
No.
a word he
Right.
says.
Tournaments are
Cash
so
is
hard,
absolutely
guys.
a miserable
Have
life.
any of you ever?
Where in the
every
cash streets?
cast-
Where in the cash streets can you take $400 and turn it into $42,000?
All you have to
every-
do is run up the stakes, bro. Rampage has fucking done exactly that. Okay.
Oh, if you play with Rampage, yes, you can do that.
Okay, look, it's the martingale system. Listen, have you guys ever looked at ICM? What a complicated system of a model. You don't want to learn that.
Play more tournaments.
You want
It's
to know
great.
how you avoid ICM? Just come play cash. Everything's easy to study. The stacks are always the same. The blinds never go up. Sometimes we throw in some straddles and stand-up game for fun. You know, it's a great time. Everybody
This is your pitch.
should come play cash.
This is your pitch.
This is my pitch.
That's not going to work.
I'll tell you how I'm going to strengthen my pitch too.
It don't look good, cuz.
I'm gonna push for the implementation of turning cash games into a hybrid of the game show Survivor, where every 3 hours someone gets voted off the table.
You vote them off the island.
I've been saying this for years.
Yeah. I think it's strong.
That's actually great.
I think
And
that's
it
wrong.
shouldn't be every 3 hours. Fuck that.
Should be every 30
hour.
minutes.
Or
That's
every,
way too. Why do you say things that are so down bad?
Every hour.
Oh yeah, every hour, every 15 hands, we're gonna vote someone off the
if
island.
well, no, but the problem is when you're playing at low stakes, people don't. It's like you don't play with people for 3 hours.
Okay,
And,
well,
like, you
then
you might
there's no
have a-
problem.
No, well, you might have a good.
if there's a nit there that isn't there for 3 hours, he's not a problem.
well, I mean, you might have a game that's good in the moment, and you might want to get somebody off
Right.
that table.
What happens if you
and,
have
like,
three?
what are you
What happens
talking
if you have
about?
3 nits there? Then you have to play 9 hours to get them off, and then
All right, fine. If you stay for 12 hours, you get a superpower voting one nit off the island whenever you please.
Also, if you have 3 nits at your table, who cares? That's just 3 dead seats in a 9-handed game. Like, you guys are going about this all wrong. You're fucking tournament players, man. You
Well,
get no say.
every hour.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't vote somebody off off the tournament table. I have to bust them.
Same thing.
If I want them gone,
That's
if they're
your-
annoying me,
that's
I
your
just have
veto
to-
power.
Yeah.
Get
Honest-
it in bad and suck out.
Honestly, it's probably like would be the best ever. You get rid of everybody would stop playing. Everybody would audition for an hour each time.
And bro, you say that as though like an hour in live poker is a lot. Like
It's all right. You can audition.
it's legitimately sometimes 15 to 20 hands.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to play any hands for the fucking 15 or 20 minutes. Just talk and be entertaining. It'd be fun. Making people don't want to vote you off.
Fap.
This is
the biggest fap you've ever met in your
this
entire
is
life.
Survivor.
When Will Jaffe made that video about fake action pros, he was literally talking about Conrad.
I mean,
No one's a bigger fake action pro than that man over there. He is a fap. Faps all fucking day long.
Damn.
no, I'm not a fake action pro in that way at all. But
Fap.
Why are you doing your bro like this?
Because he is, and he's saying down bad things right now.
No, I'm not.
He's hurting you, so you're
I'm
gonna
saying-
ad hominem
I'm saying
him?
great things, and whatever. Call me fake action. I
The
don't give a fuck.
interesting thing is this could potentially do away with all private games, because if people are smart, they'll have to make choices between voting off like the strongest player in the game versus the nittiest player in the game. But either way, what ultimately will end up happening is people will get voted out, leaving a collection of the most mid players remaining. And games are just going to be really fucking good.
Right, it's battle of the mid.
Yeah.
Because you can't be too good anymore, else you're gone.
It's battle of the mid, and then it also becomes like battle of the list, because if it's a public game, obviously like you're replacing the person voted off by the next person up.
Right.
So like if you're the best pro in the game, you get to play for your like 3-hour stretch, get voted off, go to dinner, put yourself back on the fucking list.
Right, because if you get voted off and it's call it like a 20-40 game and there's no other games going on, you just get moved down to the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
And you just don't get to play anymore.
Yeah.
So that's your shift.
Or yeah, that's your shift.
So you either have to be like
Yeah, there you
really
go.
good for the game, like many action gamble, or you just be like, you know what, I'm going to take these 3 hours, play as good as I can, and then be gone.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd have to offer value.
Not the worst idea.
You got to speak to the tribe, you
9
know?
big blinds per 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to speak to the tribe. You got to be like, listen, man.
He'll never leave them.
You'd be like, listen, man, I've been putting the straddle on every fucking orbit, not asking anybody else to do it. I voluntarily lose the stand-up game just to keep you guys happy.
Right. You've got to give back in another way.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta offer. I'm here for this.
I kind of like that idea.
I would pitch it to stream games, except the only problem is they don't have lists. And like, you don't want stream games to turn into tournaments because people naturally go broke. Like,
Right.
Well, what
like,
if you...
Last week we ended up playing 4-handed at Live at the Bike for like 2.5 hours because we busted all the nicks.
Well,
They brought us
Honestly, a
panel of
four-handed
nicks.
like a four-handed deep cash game stream would be fun to watch.
It's actually more fun to play than it is to watch.
yeah, it's fair.
It just seems like everybody be in the hands every hand. Like it would just, I don't know. It seemed like it would be.
I think
You know, you're like
It's just
forced to play.
It's
'cause
just
you're
really
short-
quiet though. Like it's not really entertaining, I would say.
it's
for the
quiet,
viewer.
and I also think like what gets lost for the viewership is that there isn't any downtime. Which, even though I know that may seem like that's a good thing, these long streams need moments to breathe.
Yeah.
But also, there's just like a ton of fucking single raise pots that are just like raise and take it.
Right. There's a
Or
lot of
like-
small ball, if you will.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
just like c-bet 25% and win.
Right.
And that gets so exhausting. It's the same reason with like why Heads Up is not a great viewing experience.
No,
Right.
it's not fun to watch, but it's very fun to play.
Right. Yeah. It's fun to see the highlights of.
Yeah.
I remember when Moonlight Master made the highlights of the Galfond Challenge. It was so good. Like watching the entire arc of the Veni Vidi stretch where like, you know, he went up whatever it was, like almost
He was
$1
up
million.
he was up a million, yeah.
And then Galfond like grinds it all the way back, like not having to see the nuance of that clawback, but instead just getting to see like all of the highlights of it.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe it would work better for an edited show, like a No Game
Yeah.
No Future. or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
for
that.
sure. For sure. When you're
I
able to,
think
like,
you
puck
could
out.
still do it with a stream game if you have enough people and you vote like 2 people off.
It would work for like 25-50 because it'd be easy to get a list.
Okay, sure. Well, I was just thinking in the sense of if you have a 6-hour stream and every 3 hours you vote someone off in an 8-handed game, you end up with 6 people.
Oh, that's fair.
And that's kind of fine, right? And then some people just get voted off and it's kind of funny, kind of sad for them, you know. I'm sorry
Yeah.
for you.
It can be. You'd create a lot of enemies, man.
Yeah.
Like-
well, that's the point, right? And then you have enemy week, and then you have the people that got voted off return.
I mean, they could do it by like, also like, you know how they did the VPIP tax? Like they could do it like,
Yeah.
oh, whoever's at the bottom of the VPIP gets voted off. So it's like, you know, you're like close to the bottom. So now you're like, and it's like time's running out. So now you got to play a bunch of hands.
Well, I think that's okay, but there are a few problems I think with doing it by VPIP. Like
VPIP is, yeah, because you can manipulate the
VPIP's
VPIP
a
by
scam.
limping and like that kind
yeah,
of stuff. I
VPIP
guess,
is
yeah.
kind of a scam because like you can limp a lot, but
Maybe
also
like raise first in or something like that.
yeah. Also, we were playing and like the lowest VPIP was 30. And it's like at that point, it's really difficult.
To get higher than
Well,
that.
it's just kind of like random now
Yeah.
who falls to the bottom.
Yeah.
And also the tax was like whatever, paying an extra big blind ante
was
isn't
small, yeah.
isn't that big of a deal.
no.
I do like the idea of like honestly people were going a little bit harder just because of the shame factor.
Yeah,
Like they didn't
No,
want
it
to be
was
the bottom two.
Right, of course.
Um
It's like everybody's at 50% BPIP.
but yeah, I think you could do something like maybe raise first in or I'm not sure like what the software is capable of as far as like tracking goes, but like if it can track like gross bets, right? Like that would be a cool way to do it.
Sure, like amount of chips put in the middle.
Yeah, the person who risks the fewest amount of chips is just like
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
yeah, because like there were a few
that'd actually
instances.
be a really good way
There were a
to
few
do it.
instances where the person with the lowest VPIP was fucking buried.
Right.
Like they'd played 3 hands and gotten stacked twice, and it's just like, well, you
don't
know,
want them to
What more
lead.
do you want them to do?
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's
that kind
fair.
of
I
thing.
like that, but I don't know how possible that is.
Yeah, I don't know how possible it is either, but that'd be a really cool metric to be able to follow. But yeah, like raise first in would be another one, or like
Man.
3-bet percentage would be a good one.
It's really tilting when someone with like call it 40 VPIP is like saying they have 40 VPIP when they limp half the time.
Sashimi got her VPIP up a few weeks ago. I remember making fun of her in her Instagram story about it. She got her VPIP up to 73%. She was just open limping every single
just limping
spot
range.
around the table.
Right.
Yeah, it's like what a scam.
Yeah, imagine limping range and every spot still having 73, because it should just be 100.
Well, I mean,
except for a blind.
there are times where it gets raised prior to coming to you.
Yeah.
You can't just flick it in with any two.
I mean, you can.
I mean,
if you want to stay on the island.
Well, it's the 5-5 ante game, so it's like there's a big difference between limping for 5 versus calling a $100 open.
Oh my god! Imagine a 73 VPIP in a $5 ante game where you're probably supposed to just like limp a ton.
If it folds to you, like you may as well just flick it in.
Yeah.
Like there's
Right. It's not really a flex.
right. There's like 20 blinds dead.
Yeah, you're not
or
flexing
more
on
or
anyone.
whatever.
You're not flexing,
How are you feeling, young man? We've missed your presence,
dude. I don't know what happened. I had food, and this was the second
had
time.
food?
This was the second time in my life that I've ever I've ever vomited. Second time ever.
So
in your life?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not a drinker.
I mean,
correct.
I've been thrown up in 22 years.
I think the last time I threw up,
22 years.
last time I threw up, I was like 6.
I was 19 the last time I puked.
I was like 6 or 7.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but I got instantly dehydrated. I remember weighing myself day of, and I weighed like 203. After all that stuff, I weighed 198.
So this came to my mind today because I've really upped my protein take last week, and I've been a little bound up,
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, like, is it possible that you just haven't been shitting enough and your body rejected
Went the other way?
all this food?
Can't go this way. It's
No.
got to
It's
go
like-
this way.
It's like, bro, we've eaten too much protein. I can't take it anymore. Like, get it out. Get it out of me.
No, because I've been going to the bathroom a lot prior to
Okay.
that. So
Okay,
I
that's
think
good.
I ate something. I don't know what happened, because I felt fine same day after having food. The culprit in question
You can, it's very
said
easy.
they would never cook for me again. Never let sis cook again.
I know you guys were arguing, was it the flu? Was it not the flu? I mean, you can just get a stomach bug, like a 24-hour stomach bug that just happens. And it's just like, you're going to get sick and you're going to feel like shit for a day, and then you're going to be
Yeah, that
fine.
passes.
Like
You
that.
can get a
It might not
bug
be the
leak.
flu, but it could be a countless number of stomach
yeah,
bugs.
I'm not really sure what happened, but
Mm-hmm.
after that situation was what it was, I slept for 11 hours. And normally when it comes to Whoop stats, even if I sleep for 4.5, my recovery is still really high.
Mm-hmm.
I slept for 10 hours that they had recorded, which didn't record maybe 8 of them. My recovery was 2%.
Yeah, we saw that.
I was just- it
you're
was like-
you're like, guys, I'm not going to be able to make the podcast.
It's like looking at a phone battery
Sleep,
and
young
thinking
man.
that you charged it overnight, and then you look and it's just like not plugged into the wall. You're just like, well, I guess I'm just like gonna recharge again.
yeah.
But I felt fine last night, and I feel good again
Yeah,
today.
you seem like you're back to
Yeah,
back
I
to
feel like I'm
normal.
back to normal, which is nice, because I don't need to have this, call it, sense of gratitude of, oh man, I'm so happy to be in good health, because I know how valuable good health is in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't have to have this sad experience to realize what I was taking for granted. Like I don't take health for granted as is.
I have to tell you, I thought you were having a real medical issue. I was like positive that his appendix had burst or something from the sounds that were radiating from his room. He's literally like, I'm working in the
Bathroom, man.
No,
I
this was
made
when
it.
you were still in your room. I'm like working in the office, and I text the group and I go, who's growling?
I was growling, yeah.
And Landon's like, it's me. And I like walk closer to his room and I just hear,
You don't have to. You don't have to replay the whale sounds. Okay.
what the fuck is happening?
Leave the whale sounds
That's what I
alone.
sounded like an hour before surgery to have my appendix removed when they hadn't given me pain meds yet.
You can just look at the wall in the bathroom.
I cleaned it.
Not well.
I cleaned it. I cleaned it.
When?
I cleaned it. I cleaned it last night. It's clean.
He came.
Did you puke in the bathtub also?
No.
When
What is going on? What am I getting attacked for? Sick? Jesus Christ! Fucking relax.
it was wild. It sounded, so I thought at first Conrad was brushing his teeth, and then I realized like, no, this is way more violent than any gagging I've ever heard Conrad come up with. And I mean, I in my head was envisioning Landon's jaw actually unhinging to get this food out of him, the sounds that he was making.
Ridiculous. Leave me. I get sick one time. Leave me alone. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm sorry I got sick.
Yeah, but you're better now, so you
Yeah.
have to, you
Relax.
have to deal with it.
All right. Fucking relax. We don't talk about you in the bathroom brushing your teeth, sounding like you're.
No, you literally do.
No, but yeah, you deserve it. Because you don't have to do that. You have to get the tongue scraper thing.
I just want to get the back of my throat, man.
Yeah, just get the tongue scraper
I don't see the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get shit taken care of, you know? No big deal.
Yeah, well, I'm fine now, so I'm happy to be back. I had 2 days off, you know, they wanted me to take days off the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was. You're back just in the nick of time. All right, let's get to our young friend Ethan Rampage. I feel like he's a topic of discussion a lot for us, honestly, and maybe it's just because he's so willing to be public and kind of outspoken about these types of things. But you know, we gave him a lot of flowers in December. He YOLO'd the 25K high roller at the win.
Understatement.
Shipped it for 900K. No big deal. Biggest upswing of the young man's career. And then promptly since has gone on a 400K downswing over the next 3 months, which, you know, when you're playing high stakes, this stuff will kind of happen. Let's hear what the young man has.
All right, I'm returning to Hustler Friday night. I'm 0 for 2 in winning, which means I'm due for a win or just to punt more money. I guess time will tell, but looking forward to playing on Friday. 100, 200, maybe 400. It's a big game. Let's gamble.
I see. That video was taken before the disaster struck.
Yeah.
So he had lost some on stream, but he got pummeled off stream, I guess.
He did.
Said he lost like 116 or
Like
something?
112.
112, something along those lines?
Yeah. It prompted a blog post.
Yeah. Yeah, I read the blog post this morning in the sauna. I thought it was like, first of all, going to count for my 75 hard reading challenge, which is very, very good. I read slow. And I thought it was like a good stream of consciousness. Like, it's pretty clear that he's kind of asking himself the important questions that I think all of us who at any point in time find ourselves gambling a little bit too high, or just even trying to figure out what the fuck it is that we're doing in this space to begin with, other than trying to collect dollars. And, you know, I thought it was like nice to see that he didn't suddenly have an epiphany at the end and arrive at some conclusion of like, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing in this industry and like what it is that I hope to achieve and why this 400 torched is all worth it in the long run or whatever. You know, I can speak a little bit to when I was that age. I didn't have that amount of liquidity to be firing off, and games weren't really that big. But I was very notorious for doing exactly what he's doing.
If you had that much money and the games were that big, you would be
100%.
doing that.
Well, 100%. 100%. But like, you know, at a lesser scale.
Right.
Like I had, you know, maybe 50 to 100K, and games were pretty much capped at like 10, 20, 25, 50 maybe. And I would constantly have strain on my entire roll. And I fully related to this notion of creating an environment where you put yourself under stress and duress. It's like I relate to that aspect of what Rampage was talking about, where it's like sometimes you need that back against the wall type of feeling in order to actually give 100%. And I don't even mean consciously. Like, I think it's a subconscious thing. I don't think any of us ever sit down at the table and are like, I'm going to take today off a little bit.
No.
Let's just
Right.
let's just stick to all the easy decisions and hope for the best. But I think it's more so like, you know, you get into this situation where you become apathetic to the money, and it's now an afterthought. Like, oh, well, I have $1 million now, or I have a couple $1 million now, and I'm rolled in your mind to play as big as possible, right? Because a couple million goes a pretty long way when it comes to buy-ins, whether you're talking about the stakes that you previously played at, like, you know, 10K cap tournaments, or call it 25, 50 no limit, things like that, or even like taking shots, because it's just like, well, the shots won't always be there, so when they pop up to play like 200, 400 or 500 1K or whatever the case may be, I'll just sell appropriately, right? But then suddenly there's a 25K every fucking week, and suddenly there's a stream game every week, and suddenly, you know, you start to look and you're shot taking 30, 40, 50, 70, 100 times a year. These aren't shots anymore, right? Like, you forgot to recalibrate for these higher stake games that you have the option to play. And suddenly you find yourself overexposed each and every time, because it's easy in this one-off scenario to say like, okay, lineup's really soft. I'm rolled to play like 100, 200, but I'm going to play 2, 4, 8 today with 80% of myself, because how bad could it be to play 6 hours at these stakes against this lineup?
Right. You just one-off the situation when you're actually continually one-offing every single event that happens after the one-off that you just said. Call it Florida's happening, or USPO is happening, or then Hustler invites you back, or there's another 25K going on. And there's always these shot takes where, why am I not going to play these games when I have this amount of money? But the real amount of variance that does occur in poker is so vast and like extremely non-fathomable that you can just continually get wrecked and think that you're doing something wrong, or the ROI that you have isn't actually being manifested, but you're losing a lot more, right?
Yeah.
Where maybe you go on a multiple 6-figure downswing where your actual ROI in these spots might be negative 5%. So if you're playing 200K in buy-ins, you should only lose 10K, but you might just lose all 200.
Right. Yeah.
Like you would say, like sometimes like some of these games you need you like to be on your own, you need like 10, 20 million to be properly rolled.
If you're going to play it consistently.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, you could obviously like
Everyone's
be very
shot-taking
aggressive
right.
with like 2 million or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, like when I was playing the big game from 2013 to like 20, I guess it kind of fizzled out around 2018-ish. I always had some level of exposure even when I was backed, right? So I was always putting up like at least 10% of the roll in exchange for like some percentage of a return. And then towards the end, as it was ending, like the famous Rob Young retired me story, I think that was like 2018 or 2019, I had like 80% of myself. So I was, working towards having all my own action. But the thing was that during that time, it didn't feel like you could go on a terrible downswing, because I was only playing like 30 sessions a year.
Right.
Until it happened.
Yeah.
Until I lost 30 sessions, or I lost like 27 of 30 sessions over a short period of time. Because what happens in those environments, it's not like the game only ran 30 times a year. I just only got, the weaker seats.
Right.
So like what ultimately ends up happening is when you string together 10 losses in a row, 15 losses in a row as a perceived good player, the host gives you more seats. So suddenly I'm losing consistently, and I find myself on a 5 million downswing in a game that's playing like, on average, the blinds are 3-6-12, but we play as big as like 6-12-24, even as big as like 2K, 4K. And if, the average buy-in now is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of like 300K amongst all those stakes. So it's not even that tough. You're talking about like a 15 buy-in downswing. Like this is the most common thing in all of poker.
Right.
Yeah.
But it feels so massive.
Well, it feels massive when you experience it for the first or second or third time, right? Because when you play a certain ABI that you become accustomed to and callous, you can now have the mentality that it is normal and it will happen and these things are part of the game. But when you keep escalating that and then making it into a high 6-figure downswing, there's an actual difference in the amount of utilizable dollars that you have that could be used somewhere else, right? Where if you lose 400K versus losing 4K, if your normal relation in net worth is similar to the 400 to the 4K, with 400 you can do a lot more than 4, right? Where Ethan now, when he first started and was playing 1-2 and losing 500, like he said in his blog post, where he thought it was the end of the world, that would feel like nothing to him at this point.
Yeah.
Right, but that it feel like nothing to him at this point because he has more money, right? But the real takeaway there is that it's a lesson in asymmetry. So even though losing 500 when it was nearly his entire net worth felt like it was the end of the world, it was replenishable, and the upside was very asymmetric. So like if he lost 500 in a tournament where first place is 100,000, going from being worth nothing to worth 100,000 is massive asymmetric upside, in spite of the fact that the downside is ruin, right? Because ruin to 500 is nearly nothing. So there's no asymmetry there. The asymmetry is on the upside. When you look at the inverse of it now, where he's worth millions and he's risking, 5%, 10%, 15% of his net worth anytime he sits down, the asymmetry is now all in the risk side. If you lose 5 to 10 to 15% of your net worth, that's not catastrophic, but it's very impactful to the way that you can make your money work for you moving forward. It's impactful to your earning power at some point, right? There's a tipping point where doing that enough times now restricts your earning power moving forward, because you can't take as many shots or you can't play as high, whatever the case may be. Whereas winning in those spots for the same percentage of your net worth has a bit of...
It doesn't change much. It doesn't really move the needle, really.
Yeah, it's depreciating returns. So the asymmetry here is all on the risk side, even though the risk reward may be comparable, right? Like you may be risking 5% of your net worth to win 5% of your net worth, but what it does to your actual earning power thereafter is asymmetrically worse when you lose compared to when you win. And I think that like that's a hard lesson that most people just kind of have to understand on their own. And, you know, the reason I brought up that downswing in the big game is because if I were on my own, if I only had 5 million and I just tried to ride that swing out, I would have gone broke, or I would have had to quit maybe like halfway through and just like lost 2.5 million or something along the lines, whatever the case may be, and just been totally out of action, because the next step down from that was 10, 20, 40. Right? So it's like you had two options. You could play in Ivy's room if you were fortunate enough to get a seat, and play 300, 600, 1200, sometimes 1K, 2K, 4K, whatever, or you go back to playing 10, 20, 40. And like, you know, the difference there is astronomical. But because I wasn't restricted to that, and even though I may have lost, or I had like, you know, $500,000 sunken into that downswing, there was more funds behind it. So there's, you know, a $10 million roll total. Like it didn't exhaust the funds or whatever. And then because now I was losing, I have more invites. Now I get to play a string of better lineups for a period of time, and we go on a 6 million upswing. Right? So it's like when you convert this to 1020, it would be the equivalent of going on like I mean, if we're talking like big blinds, it'd be the equivalent of going on like a 75K downswing at 1020, which is fucking nothing. Literally, it's absolutely nothing. And to even exaggerate it, like going on 150K downswing in 1020 is just something that almost all live players should expect to be within the realm of possibility.
Right, especially
Right?
if you're playing like 10-20 uncapped.
Right. The problem is that when you start to reach a certain stake, the numbers become more important than the variance. Right? Like you just can't afford to add a bunch of zeros to those numbers, because like you'll just simply be out of action.
Right. If you lose 10 million playing that game, you're just not going to get to play anymore. And
Right.
then you go to the poker hospital or the retirement home like you did when Rob retired you.
Yeah, well, that was kind of the irony of it all, is that the 6 million upswing then obviously cut my plays way down again, because now it's like I win, you know, 25, 27 sessions out of 30, like something stupid. And that's fine. That's, you know, there's still potential to win. But, you know, as the volume gets massively cut, and now that swing has been exemplified to your financiers, it's just like, well, what are we doing? Like, you know, this is a very swingy endeavor. It has a lot of risk.
Right.
And the upside seems minimized if you're only going to get to play 15 times a year. So I just went to selling then. And I did exactly what Rampage did. It's why I ended up like not making it out of that week with Rob. So that week that I ultimately ended up taking a step back, it was because it just like happened on a whim, right? So I was responsibly selling to what had become a 200-400 game. The game had gotten smaller over the years, like from like 2018 to 2019 or 2017 to 2019, whatever. It had reduced from like 3-6-12 to 300-600 down to like 200-400, depending on the lineup. And I was just responsibly selling for that, because I could afford to aggressively play 200-400 on my own, but I just need the game played bigger. So I was like responsibly selling like, you know, a quarter or a half, depending on the lineup, and doing okay. Well, then there was just this random week where Karim was in town, Rob Young was in town, Rick Solomon was in town. All these guys were in town. It was the sickest game ever, and I had a seat because Karim, nobody really knows him, I guess,
Legend.
but like he's just an absolute legend, just loves to give action, but he loves me. So I had a guaranteed seat for the whole week, 7 days in a row. But now it's 3-6-12. And I'm looking at it as like, well, this game is so actually it might have only been advertised as 3-6, but obviously it's going to be more. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to like aggressively shot take here, and I'm just going to keep half of myself. And I sold half. And it was like, by day one, I'm personally stuck like $250,000, and it's like, okay, well, I can't keep these fucking swings up. Like I haven't done any accounting for this. And, you know, by the time I realized that I kind of overstepped a little bit, it was like, well, now I'm going to have to sell like 80% to play the rest of the week. It was like, you know what? I should just take a step back from this, because what's going to ultimately end up happening is I'm going to be too aggro and I'm going to fucking break myself. Like I'm just going to not sell 80% to one of these sessions because the lineup's going to be too good. I'm going to have a Jesus seat and I'm going to say like, today's the day that I take on more risk, and I'm just going to fucking ruin myself.
Okay. So how would you approach that situation with the role you had if you had that opportunity now?
I would think better, because I've been through it, and I do find myself in those scenarios a lot now. Like I didn't overextend myself, for example, whenever we played what ended up being 1K, 2K on the bike with persons. And granted, I couldn't get a hold of enough liquidity to overextend myself either. So that was a bit of a handcuff. But, you know, just generally speaking, like you understand that they're not one-offs anymore. Like these opportunities are going to continue to flow. But in Rampage's shoes, it's very easy to think like, this might be the last 25K I have the opportunity to play. This might be the last time Hustler invites me. This might be the last Friday show that I get a chance to sit in. So like, how am I not just going to take a couple 100,000 of this roll and, you know, try to YOLO it up?
And the actual reality is that it's not the last one.
Almost certainly
it's
not if he
game.
plans on staying in this game, right?
Right.
Like he'll figure out ways to navigate that world, and he already has. And he'll figure out ways to offer value. And people will want him.
Maybe doing this stuff now is that sort of comfort zone to continually have it in the future.
Well, I think there is a lot to be said for being young and taking on a lot of risk. Like it didn't have to go bad. It didn't have to go sideways. It could have been his way of propelling up to 5 or 10 million. You know, like he just YOLOs it in the 25K, rips off a 7-figure score, then YOLOs it in a couple high stakes stream games, maybe runs it up another 500,000 or something like that.
The Fedor approach?
Yeah, and then finds himself. Well, the thing was Fedor was very responsible.
Yeah, Fedor responsibly sold and just won.
He sold, he swapped, he did all the things that are necessary when you know you have a big edge, and you like going broke is the most catastrophic thing in the world. I think for Rampage, what it is, and I'm speaking to this from experience because looking back when I was his age coming up, even though I had a lot of hubris and belief in myself, I didn't know what my edge actually was.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of that is when you can't really quantify what your edge is, you just want to kind of mash together whatever edge you have with gamble and say like, well, if I get to a certain level of wealth, it won't fucking matter what my edge is or was or anything like that. Like if I just win, then I'm just going to have too much money to care about an edge. And that's a pretty good place to be sitting from.
You think that's where he's at now?
Well, I'm not saying that that's necessarily how he thinks. I'm just saying that like when I was that age, the confusion or the lack of certainty around how I was making money made me steer towards gambling more, because I had enough positive reinforcement throughout the years of if I just play and play well, I'll win.
Do you think that part of that was from the poker dream that was sold to you when you were younger, thinking that you could make 8 figures in poker?
I mean, it wasn't sold. It was true.
It was true back then, but it's not true the same now.
Yeah, correct.
Unless you have, call it, the one-off access to private games.
Yeah, I think, and Lamanna can speak to this a little bit from his experience, but I think for me, like in the early 2000s, the idea was to get to Negreanu and Ivy's level as fast as fucking possible because there was infinite money to collect there.
Yeah.
How would you do that? By just playing tournaments and winning?
If I had to go back and do it all over again, yeah, but you know, you need money.
That was like the Jay Mercier type of approach.
Right. People would like try to get backing and then get backed for like the 10Ks and then rip a couple off and then get sponsored and they're off to the races.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like selling wasn't a thing back then.
Right.
It was just you were on stake or you weren't.
Right. Yeah.
You were on stake, you gambled everything you had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being able to play like the 10Ks consistently was like the dream.
Right.
Yeah.
Were you at that point?
No. I played maybe 3 or 4 10Ks prior to 2010. I think I played a couple WPTs in the main event twice. And I wasn't very good.
Prior to 2010, you mean like the couple years after the Moneymaker stuff where 10Ks were just firing off like it was nothing?
2003 to like 2011, 10Ks were incredibly common across the tours.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That was like
that was the only buy-in for WPT.
Right.
Moneymaker won when?
03.
2003. Yep.
Oh, okay. For some reason I thought it was 08, but no. Okay. Got it. Got it.
08 was what's his face?
Asham.
No, Eastgate.
Oh, maybe it was Eastgate.
Man, you know your lore.
I did this game with who was the one who asked me? It was Laura.
I thought 08 was Jerry Yang. Maybe it was 07.
Oh, you might be right.
One of those 2 years.
Yeah. Wait, no. Jerry Yang, we were still living in Erie, so it had to be 07.
Okay, you're right.
And then 09 was Kata. Pretty sure 08 was Eastgate.
Okay.
But yeah, I did this game with Laura where we went backwards on the main event winners. I did shockingly well.
Yeah.
I would not do very well.
You're too young.
Too young.
You don't care about poker history.
It's not that I don't care. It's that there's other stuff going on, you know?
Is there?
I mean, I'm interested in it if it's told to me. Like, I heard about this from Jamie. What was the kid's name? He was a very young kid, but like won everything, but kind of like a cheater.
Oh, fuck.
It was like Jay something.
No. Oh my god. Oh yeah, JJ Prodigy.
Yes.
JJ Prodigy.
Yeah, like
Legend.
I didn't know of this
Fucking
guy.
legend.
But why? Like, what's the story there?
He started playing. He was like one of the first that was found out to be playing like super underage, like 14. And he was just like an online
Prodigy.
boss. Like he was just a fucking beast online. And then like, I guess, I don't know, it must have been like 08 or 09. He finally turned 21. And so it was kind of like the Isildur allure, right? Like nobody knew who this guy was. And then eventually he made his way to the live world and had a big splash there. It was the same thing with JJ Prodigy. He was literally just winning like every fucking online event. But he wasn't old enough to play in a casino. And then eventually, like, you know, he started making his way. And, you know, there are also allegations of, there's always like something slightly shady surrounding him. I think that there were allegations that he was multi-accounting, or maybe it was confirmed that he was multi-accounting. I don't recall. That stuff was, you know, a lot more commonplace back then. Security measures were, you know, looking back in the history of online, like security's always been a step behind.
I was gonna say, how different is security then versus security now?
I mean, significantly different, but they're always a little bit behind in the sense that I don't think they understand that the way poker players think, especially ones that aren't that interested in abiding by any rules, is how can I game the system? Like, how can I game the system
without
for more
caught.
money? Period. Well, whether it's without getting caught or not, like that's a matter of, is it legal to game the system? But like, even whenever we were first coming up and there was no strategy to really pull from outside of like, you know, super system or whatever, the way that we thought about playing and the way we quote unquote studied would be like running hand histories and figuring out like, if I knew all of the information, how could I have played this hand perfectly?
Yeah.
Right. And then it became trying to turn that into generalities that would quote unquote game the pool. Right. Like, oh, well, if I have a set, then taking this type of line wins the most versus
right,
the
this
player.
will give me the most EV.
Like, this is how I'll win the most versus an overpair or a top pair type of hand. So like we always frame things in what's the shortcut to maximizing a spot. And I think that's just pretty natural when you're interested in games and you're involved in gambling in general.
I think that's just a good way to think as a whole, even now. Without the whole cheating part, right?
Well, no, I think it's a good way to think with the cheating part, because it allows you to start to consider, how can I be taken advantage of? How can the system be broken? Right? Like these are ways to steelman a lot of the models and systems that are in place. Right? Like, even if you're looking at something like ICM, this is a good way to think about it, of like, okay, well, what potential ways could I break this system if you know, I move these certain variables around in a particular way? Like, it's just a good, it's a good methodology to try to steelman anything that you're considerate of. But I think that whenever you're in a game that's driven by bottom line, when you're most interested in gaming the system, it's for your own benefit. Right.
Right. You try to do things to make yourself win the most.
Yeah. How can I turn a zero sum game into a positive sum game for myself? Or, you know, how can I turn my win rate from X amount of dollars per hour or per big blind to double that?
That's the cool thing about poker, I guess, is you'll never have the true answer to all of these questions. You can just kind of have theories.
Yeah.
You know, like you can never get an actual sample size to say, oh, this strategy that I'm using is definitely winning more so than this one.
I mean, online, you can start to get enough data, I think, to feel a high degree of confidence.
Well, I guess if you're talking from the standpoint of, if I'm multi-accounting and if I'm using all of these different ways that I can game the system, then that's definitely going to be true and you're going to get the volume to be able to do so. But if you're looking from the one-off standpoint, it's probably going to be a little bit more difficult because it's not like we know for a fact how much ICM is winning in a certain situation versus others. Right. We just agree that this is the quote unquote way.
Or at least the best model that we currently have.
Right.
Yeah.
In 10 years, there might be a different model that says ICM
in
its current state is wrong.
Yeah. Agreed. And I think your point brings up like why online is so vulnerable, right? Because you can actually get the data, you can actually get the volume in, and you can actually break these.
Yeah. Because
COS.
you can use this as a very easy solution with HUD stats, right? Where if you just have X amount of sample on target opponent that knows, and you know that they don't check raise enough or they don't do bet enough, you can start kind of making practical exploits that will turn zeros into ones.
Right.
Or turn zeros into negatives where you should actually just be folding as it's the best option.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much of that was considered when some of the AIs were built, like Pluribus. What was the one before that? It was Pluribus was the multi-way one, right?
What do you mean?
The
Pluribus played 6 max.
Yeah. Pluribus played 6 max, and then before that there were the heads up bots. Not bots, but AIs.
There's like Liberatus.
Liberatus,
Yeah,
that's it, yeah.
That's right. How could I forget Liberato? That was our Spanish teacher. Remember when Denny threw the flan out the window?
The what?
You don't know what flan is?
We made flan.
Flan's bussin'.
Oh, we did, yes.
And he threw his out. Remember we had those old school fucking windows that like you
come
pulled them
halfway
down?
out. Yeah.
He just chucked it out of the 4th story.
Why didn't he want to eat the flan?
It was shit.
It was not good.
Down
was
bad
shit
flan?
Yeah, it was shit flan. Nobody wants that shit. It was real bad.
Didn't
Shout
you
out to
guys
Denny.
make the flan?
Yeah, it was shit though. Actually, I don't even think we did. I think she just brought it in.
Maybe.
I think she made the flan. Wasn't good.
Liberato flan.
Yeah. She used to wear makeup like Mimi from Drew Carey. It was wild. She looked like a peacock. I never learned 4 years of Spanish. I never learned to speak a fucking lick.
Nope.
I can count, and I can ask where the bathroom is.
That
was the
baño.
Yeah, that was the most important question.
Well, hold on, let's hear it.
Yo puedo ir al baño.
No, you just said I'm able
Yes.
to go to the bathroom.
Yes.
It's donde está el baño, or
Correct.
I think may I use the bathroom was
Puedo ir?
Puedo ir al baño. Yeah,
That's what I said.
you said yo puedo ir al baño.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely different.
I thought you just put yo in front of every sentence.
It's like you're bragging. It's like, man, I can go to the bathroom.
It is a flex.
Yo,
I am potty
Puedo ir al
trained.
baño.
Yeah, that's
Oh man, yeah. I remember Spanish 1. I thought I was so fucking cool because my mom like wanted me to be smart, I guess, when I was a kid. So she taught me how to count in Spanish when I was like 2. And so like I show up.
Came in all
like,
flexing.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. What? I know how to make it teens and everything else. Like
yeah, they're
you
like,
guys don't know
damn,
what the
let him
fuck you're
cook. He's counting right now. And you're just like 5.
yeah, then we're at Spanish 4 and she's speaking in full sentences and I'm just staring like, what the fuck am I a part of
You're
right
still
now?
counting. You're still just counting. You always go back to your roots.
Just like, okay.
I feel like if I actually studied for the test, I probably would've
Yeah,
did
that was
better.
bad.
Yeah.
I used to cheat off Stacy.
Yeah.
She would wear on Fridays. On Fridays, the cheerleaders wear their like cheerleader outfits, and tests usually were on Fridays. So she would tape a cheat sheet to her thigh.
Wow, just outing Stacy, just like
I mean, it was 25 years ago. We'll be all right. But she would tape a cheat sheet of all the words conjugated on her thigh, and I would sit like one behind and one to her left.
A diagonal.
the thing is
Yeah.
too, like she was super smart. Like she probably didn't need
We
to
all
cheat.
were.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you don't have to
true.
cheat, but
It's
like
just-
it's about time
Just
management
smart
at that
enough
point.
to like, yeah.
We're not planning on speaking Spanish. We
right.
have to take a language, and
Exactly.
Russian seemed worse.
It's got to be infinitely easier to cheat now with ChatGPT.
Oh, fuck yeah.
cell
Has to be,
phone.
Oh my God, yeah.
I saw the funniest Reddit
Nobody's
thread.
taping anything to their thigh.
Man, there was
anymore.
such a funny Reddit thread of a teacher being like, I know this student cheated because there's no way they would have written an essay this good and they used ChatGPT, but I can't prove that they
Yeah.
used
that
ChatGPT.
actually happened to me, but not with obviously GPT. But no,
Two letters, Brian.
it was our senior paper. I hope Mr. Ondeka is watching this because so I was dating a girl from a different school, an adjacent
flex.
school, and she just let me use her paper, and she was super smart, right? And this guy knows that like I'm not a great writer. Now I turn in this amazing paper.
You turn in a
and
masterpiece.
He's like, this is like a college level A. Like, we know you didn't read this. Me and Mr. Ferrari, who was the librarian, like we're scouring the internet now because like this is the early days of the internet,
Yeah.
right? 2000, 1999 or whatever it was. And he said, yeah, we're going through and we're gonna find. We know you plagiarized this, and we're gonna find it on the internet. And I knew. I was like, search all you want, you're never gonna find it. And they never found it. They could. You know the funny thing is, he gave me a fucking C on the paper, the motherfucker.
He gave you what you were going to get yourself.
Yeah, he gave me a C somehow. I'm like, you said this is a college A, but you gave me a C.
Oh my
Out of
God.
spite, you son of a
Man.
bitch.
That was your first introduction to
But he was
bluffing.
right. He knew I didn't write the paper. He just couldn't prove it.
Larry O, man.
Oh my
You know,
God.
no body, no crime. That's all I'm saying.
What do you think gave it away? The fact that you could barely even spit out.
Yeah, the fact that he couldn't say
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
Right.
The fact that he couldn't say-
Yep.
Oh man, yeah, come on, bro. Like if you're gonna cheat on your fucking final, you can't get somebody with like 20 IQ points ahead of you to write
I
it.
mean, you know, he's probably 40 IQ.
Man, the greatest part would be if she cheated too.
Shout out to Lauren. Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks for the C, babe. Appreciate you.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
looking
This
out.
paper is so good that I can't give you an A out of principle.
The irony, I told this story before on the pod, but the irony is I actually wrote Skimpy's paper for him in the same
he
class.
paid you for it.
He paid me for it, and I literally copied and pasted the entire thing from the internet.
And yet they're like, nope, that seems right.
I wrote fewer than 1,000 words for this 10-page essay. I would literally just go through and connect paragraphs that were taken from multiple sources. They didn't even flow together.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I remember in high school and like middle school, they would give you word counts for these papers.
Yeah.
I think that word counts are really not great because it forces people to add more fluff in order to make it hit the word count.
Ours was by page, I think.
You know, it's like-
it had to be like 10 pages.
Exactly, right? So like if someone wants to write a lower than 10-page essay, but it's really good and doesn't have the fluff, that's their risk and their choice. But if they do go over the X amount of page limit with good stuff, it's probably going to be a better paper.
Right.
You know, it's like if you want to go less than, that's your choice. And you're probably not going to do as well because there's less information.
You're trying to make the sentences, like now the sentences are like super wordy when they don't have to be. Because
Exactly.
You're just trying to get to the word count.
Exactly. Like you just
Yeah.
start adding the adjectives like that end in ly or like extremely and
Yeah,
very.
this is why I speak in such fluffy language, because I had to write all these fucking word-driven papers.
Well, you don't use fluffy language. You use big words. That's what people would say.
That actually is different. That didn't start happening until college, and it's a byproduct of like being or studying computer science. Like when you're so thrust into the STEM arena and everything is so fucking technical, it's difficult not to think in like that sort of language, especially because it applies so well into poker. You know, for lack of a better term, poker really is a bit of a science. It's a very math-driven game. But prior to that, like if you read the stuff that I wrote in like high school and stuff, I spoke with like very flowery language where I just like absolutely abused adverbs and adjectives. I mean, I would just add unnecessary descriptors to everything.
You should have seen his away message on
You
AIM.
would use more words when fewer words would do trick.
Yes, but also like it was a very, and I still definitely do this. Like my writing style when I like blog and stuff is still very guilty of this. it wasn't informative writing. It was to evoke
Expressive.
Yeah, it was expressive. It was to evoke emotion. So it was like you're always going to be very dense to adjectives and adverbs in those instances. But it was also like a way to get your word count up. You know, it's like I ran really fast. I ran really extremely proficiently fast.
Right.
Like that's 5 words, you know.
Yep.
That's a quarter of a page.
The copious amount of speed that I used to reach this destination.
Right, yeah. You just learn to be very long-winded whenever you're writing these stupid fucking term papers.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is like these word counts cause that to happen.
Yeah.
Where sometimes the bigger words actually allow you to use less words. Where it does do the fewer words do trick type of thing.
Yeah, I think science papers are very guilty of this too. Like when you start to speak very technically like that, you start to lean really heavily into the jargon, and it becomes a means of constantly demonstrating that you're like really deep into the subject material. I very, very vividly remember in like 6th grade we had to read. We would always read out loud like once a day. It was almost always something from the science books. And I only remember that to be true because when we got to the word organism, Sean Hess thought it would be like hilarious if we said orgasms instead. And it was just like this repetitive thing where we had Mr. Pollock as our 6th grade teacher, and he just didn't care. Like he just, I swear to God, he wasn't listening to a word coming out of anyone's fucking mouth.
He probably wasn't.
He was just like drifting off to sleep behind his desk, and like you have a bunch of 12-year-olds constantly saying orgasm over and over and over again, and he's just like dead to the world, doesn't care. But
This was the same in my 7th grade science class. People would just say orgasm and stuff. And
yeah,
it was like great.
Kids are the same.
Yeah,
we're all wired
Nothing's
the same.
changed,
We're
you know?
fucking idiots.
Yeah, the difference is our teacher did not let that cook.
Right,
No.
right, which is fair. I don't know why I'm going down this path, but I also remember a time in 4th grade. Were you in my class with Mrs. Oberdorf?
No, I had Magnus.
Okay, that was my reading teacher. She was also a part of my grandmother's card club. so they played like cards together once a month. I remember when we were going into 5th grade, I got like warned to be good in her class because she would see my grandmother. But I guess Mrs. Oberdorf was 4th grade. Because
you said 4th
Oh, okay,
grade.
yeah. Magnus was 5th.
No, Magnus was 4th.
Really?
Yeah, I had Mrs. Long in 5th.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We were both in Mrs. Long's class. That's when the incident happened.
Yeah.
But in Oberdorf's class, there was a day. Why she ever proposed this to the class is beyond me. Like, thinking back on it, what a terrible idea. But we were just sitting around, like, killing time at the end of the day. And she's like, does anybody have any jokes? Like, bad fucking idea. Terrible idea. Like, you don't know who our parents are.
Right, yeah.
We're all going to be way different levels of inappropriate.
Does anybody want to try to be funny?
So obviously, like, there's always been a little part of me that thinks I'm a bit of a class clown, even though I was very shy and reserved, like, at that point. So
This was your moment.
coming from me, this was like even more impactful because like I just didn't talk unless I was giving the answer to a question. And I like very sheepishly like raised my hand.
Oh my God.
And she calls on me, and I tell this joke that my mom told me when I was like, I don't know, maybe 9, but it always stuck with me as being so inappropriate, hilarious. But it's just like 9-year-old potty humor.
You remember the joke?
Very well.
Obviously, he remembers the joke. Okay, now clearly you have to say the joke.
Of course, I'm going to tell the joke. There were these 3 flies, and they were trapped in a bathroom.
I know this
right?
one. You've told me this joke.
Of course, I've told you this joke. The 3 flies trapped in a bathroom. They don't know they're in a bathroom. They just think they're off in the wild somewhere, whatever. And one fly is he's made his shelter in the sink. And the next morning, all these 3 flies come together in the middle of the bathroom, and they talk about their night previously. So the fly from the sink goes, "Man, it was okay, but like I had a rough night. Like it would just start downpouring terribly throughout the night at random." And there was another one that made its home in the toilet, and he goes, "Man, I know what you mean. Like I was resting by this lake, and every now and again I would just get this flash flood that would come and wipe me away, and I'd have to swim my way back up to the surface." And the one that rests in the shower goes, "Oh fuck, I fucked the joke up."
You did.
I did. It was the shower that would get the flash flood. So the one oh god damn it.
I guess you didn't remember it very well.
I did, just in the wrong order.
Trying to remember a joke from 5th grade and to just write it off the cuff is pretty hard.
Anyway, the one that was in the toilet goes, "Man, you guys think you had it fucking bad. I was trapped in this swamp, and all night long I got wind, I got rain, and a fucking log fell on my head."
Yep, classic.
Yeah.
When you were 9, did this joke hit?
Crushed.
Oh yeah, crush it. No.
Absolutely, bro. It was a poop joke
Yeah.
at
They're
10.
from the Midwest. Of course it fucking
Not
crushed.
from the
All right, Conrad, you got jokes for us?
No.
Mid-Atlantic is where we're from.
Yeah, we're the Northeast. God damn it! It snows where we're from. I guess it snows in the Midwest.
Right. This is like the joke with two muffins in an oven where the muffin says to the other muffin, "Man, is it hot in here? It's just me." And the other muffin looks at the muffin and says, "Oh my God, it's a talking muffin."
That's funny to me.
Yeah, it's like that.
That's actually still funny to me. I know my joke isn't still funny as an adult, but I also know at 9 that would fucking kill.
Yeah, poop jokes usually.
Poop jokes.
You knew your
Win the
audience.
room over.
I did
Yeah.
know
Game
my
selection is greater than skill.
It was one of those ones where I was battling to even get the punchline out without like laughing myself. And then Mrs. Oberdorf like went from like immediate shock and horror to just like tears of
Really?
laughter. I mean, the whole it was like 36 kids just belly laughing. Like, what else can you do?
It's not that bad.
This
not
was
that bad.
This was your first hit of dopamine.
Yeah. Yeah. It carried over into senior year. We did a mock homecoming court where the cheerleaders became the escorts and the athletes became the court, so to speak. And traditionally, like, they had always dressed up to the opposite gender. So the guys would dress up as girls, the girls would dress up as guys. But we bucked that trend a little bit, and we dressed up as Scuzzbusters, which our rival high school was Apollo, and the underlying reason why we called them Scuzz is because there's a Babcock's and Wilcox nuclear plant that's buried in their fucking town. So like we always referred to them as dirty and nuclear waste and whatnot. The usual stuff. So none of this matters. Like we dressed up as like Ghostbusters or whatever, and my best friend Gumby dressed up as like the running back for Apollo, and I tackled him and put him in handcuffs, all this stuff. None of that matters. What matters is I wrote a song called No Scuzz.
Instead of No Scrubs. This is right when No Scrubs came out.
It was peak No Scrubs.
Yeah, it was peak No Scrubs.
This was your second hit of dopamine.
Second hit of dopamine because the night
He's
before.
so happy. He was so proud of the song. It's a good song.
The night before, Mrs. Lucchino, who was the head coach for
the volleyball team, right?
No, for the cheerleaders.
Oh, cheerleaders. Oh, that's right.
We did a rehearsal, and I I sang the first verse of the song, and she grabbed the microphone from me and goes, "No, absolutely not." And I go, "Okay, I'll change it." And I just like sang a redacted version,
revised version.
I cut like a lot of the stuff out and it was much shorter. And she goes, "Okay, but you have to do that version." I was like, "Okay." So the next day, I obviously go back to the original.
Yeah.
And like right as it's the point where she's like on the cusp of like, is he gonna do it or is he not? I just fully commit.
Yeah.
And she runs towards me to grab the mic, and I just turn like this to finish the song. The line she didn't want me to say was, "Do you want to fight with me with no front teeth?" Oh no, I don't want no scuzz. She was trying so hard to get the mic from me. I was like,
no front teeth.
I'm like, that's the punchline. You got to get it.
It really is the punchline.
There's a video of that somewhere.
Chad Rice has it somewhere.
Oh man, Chad, if you're
There's
watching.
a video of
It's on VHS.
There's a video of a young you singing this song.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's on VHS.
It's on
Yeah.
VHS.
I mean, we'll get our resident Guapo to find it.
I mean, if it's on the internet, Guapo will find it, but I don't think it is.
Guapo will probably find the tape VHS at a local thrift shop.
That's true. He should probably get us a VCR.
You'll probably find a VHS of you saying that joke when you were 9.
Oh man, something's just hit, you know.
I know.
You guys ready for St. Patty's Day tomorrow or what?
I'm excited.
Who said I'm excited?
Me.
Why are you excited?
Because it's fun.
You don't drink.
I know I don't drink, but it's fun to watch.
Are you gonna go out?
No.
Then what are you excited
I'm excited
about?
for the podcast tomorrow. It's gonna be fun.
Come on, man. The podcast
I don't
is
go
a warm
out.
up.
I don't do anything.
Guys, I think we have to take Landon out.
I'm not going
tomorrow.
out. Don't do it.
I think we have to take Landon out tomorrow.
Stop.
Maybe.
No.
Yeah.
You need to experience St. Patty's Day on the Strip.
No, I don't. My dad owned a bar in Florida.
Steelers bar.
You definitely need to experience St. Patty's Day on the Strip.
Nah, my.
It's honestly, it's probably the closest thing to Mardi Gras that you'll ever experience.
I don't think I could ever do it again. It's
You
tough.
lie.
Well, because I'm
You
like,
lie.
no, I mean, it
You
was
lie.
fun. It was really fun in my 20s, which he is in his 20s, so it should be fun. For
You
him.
know, it
In
wasn't
your
that long
40s.
ago that all of Greg's friends were in town and we did St. Patty's on the Strip. It was like 2019, 2018-ish.
I wasn't there.
I think
Maybe
you
I
were.
was.
I think you were.
Greg's actually going to be on the strip this weekend, I think.
St. Patty's Day.
Mhm.
We can go grind.
No,
we can go grind
we're going
after
to Brent's
Landon.
tomorrow for meat and basketball.
Oh, I thought you guys were going to Red Rock today.
Red Rock today, and then Brent's tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll consider it. It's March Madness, man. There's a lot of games going on.
A lot of games.
Might have to. Come on, Landon. We'll go out for a little while, and then we'll go find a 50-100 game somewhere.
No, we won't. And
Or you
that's
can
all
go
right.
find a down bad daily and play that since you're a tournament pro now.
No, I'm gonna stay home. I like being home.
I'm going to tell Nikki and Caitlin to recruit you.
I love
Yeah.
being home.
They have the power.
They do.
They don't. No one
They
does.
do.
Over you, they do.
No.
Yes, for sure. Dance. Puppet dance.
There's an 1,100, 500K.
See?
Yes.
Told you. We'll find some down bad daily.
I'm playing that on Saturday, so I can't get too drunk tomorrow.
God,
What?
it's such a shame. Landon's never even seen LeMan at his peak.
No, maybe not.
No,
You will,
definitely not.
You will.
What would you consider Brian when he was at FT Rail for you?
Oh,
Like a 5,
A
right?
4.
Like a 4.
Yeah, that
That's
was
what I
yeah,
figured.
that was so tame.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need him to
Randall
be.
Emmett was in worse shape than Lamanna, and I don't
Oh
even think
my
he was drinking.
Randall really came up. Yeah, he was not. He just wanted to support you.
Hey, he
Let's go, Bert.
He was just yelling. I have 12 blinds, man.
You played one hand post, like board comes ace high, and Randall just goes, "You got this, Bert. You got this. Let's go, baby."
He was right. I had it.
You folded.
Oh, I didn't have it then.
No,
I was-
you folded an ace because bro had a set.
Oh, that's right. I'm so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
I did have it. I had ace 10. I remember this hand. Or ace 9. No, I had ace 9 of clubs.
Good ace 9.
It was a single raise pot. I bet one street and then fucking gave up because I knew
You did know.
he had a set of 7s. Didn't matter. I didn't ladder. I should have just went broke that hand. Quick reminder, we do still have 2 academies coming up. There is a Poker Out Loud Academy April 15th. That's coming up quickly. A few seats remain for that. If you're interested, head to academy.solveforwhy.io. The Poker Out Loud Academy is 4 days long, 2 days of gameplay where you're playing Poker Out Loud and we are watching in the back room doing commentary over your thoughts. And it's 2 days of strategy construction where we basically give you the broad strokes and game theory principles necessary to put together a comprehensive strategy for all of the thoughts that you'll be speaking out loud. The Tournament Academy is May 24th to the 27th. That's going to be led by Matt Hunt. Also a 4-day academy. It's going to break up a little bit differently. Each day there will be gameplay and strategy construction. Each day will align with a different phase of the MTT. So day 1 will be early. Day 4 will be final tables for everybody involved. We'll have some prizes for everybody playing for so that you can figure out ICM and things of that nature. If you're interested in that, head to academy.solveforwhy.io, click on the banner above, and it will take you directly to the MTT Academy sign up. That's it for us today. We're joined tomorrow by Nikki Limo and Caitlin Comiskey. They have a new project that they're planning on working on, so I'm excited to hear about that. They also have a fun, I don't know if it's a drinking game or not, but it's going to be a St. Patty's based theme game, I suppose, that we're going to try to play. So be sure to wear your green tomorrow. We'll be sweating a little bit of March Madness for the rest of today and going into tomorrow's show. And, this is the luck of the Irish. We'll see you guys all then.
Peace.
Peace.